2001 was an interesting year. We had just gotten off the cusp of the Y2K incident that had many panicking over the state of the world come the turn of the millennium. Of course, that was nothing more than simply a large hoax, and much of the population had laid to rest as everyone just watched Shrek on their epic PS2 consoles or whatever they did in 2001. However, the events of September 11th were perhaps some of the most unexpected yet disastrous events that occurred on US soil, in quite a long time actually. However, not many people know how it actually came to be. Don't worry though, it's pretty easy to explain, but we'll kinda go perhaps a little fast, so try to keep up. In the early hours of September 11th, 2001, Mohammed Atta and Abdul Aziz Al-Omari entered the Portland International Jetport. This is Portland, Maine, by the way, not Portland, Oregon. They boarded Colgan Air Flight 5930 with little issue and arrived in Boston at 6:45. Three other hijackers, Walin al-Shenri, Wael al-Shenri, and Saddam al-Suqami, arrived in the Logan airport and joined the other two hijackers momentarily. By 7:40, all hijackers were aboard the American Airlines Flight 11 and the plane took off at 7:59. Disaster strikes in just 15 minutes later. At 8:13, the Boston Air Route Traffic Control Center told the pilots to ascend to a cruising altitude of 35,000 feet. No response. Mohammed Atta had stabbed Captain Oganowski and two other flight attendants. At 8:42, Atta attempts to make an announcement to the flight passengers, but instead presses the wrong button, and instead sends a message to Boston Art CC. This is what the message reads.
Buddy, we have some planes, just stay quiet and you'll be okay. We're heading to the airport.
Boston Art CC promptly reported to the Federal Aviation Administration that the flight had been hijacked. At 8:33, Atta sends another message to Boston Art CC.
Nobody move, please. We're going back to the airport. Don't try to make any stupid moves.
Attempts to stop the aircraft had been made by sending F-15 fighter jets, but this was far too late. The worst had just begun.
My favorite video games are Banjo-Kazooie, Super Mario, and
At 8:46, Flight 11 had struck the North Tower of the World Trade Center. The impact was so severe that it was impossible for anyone above the impact to escape. People leapt to their deaths. It was a tragic sight to behold, as many had no choice but to accept death. However, as previously mentioned, this was simply the beginning. At 6:20 Eastern Standard Time, Hamza Al-Gandhi and Ahmed Al-Gandhi arrived at the Logan International Airport in Boston. The two men boarded the plane by 7:28 with little to no issues. By 8:46, United Airlines Flight 175 had been hijacked. Unlike American Flight 11, they had turned off their transponders, so no audio recordings had been made except for a recording of the crew on the ground. At 9:03, Flight 175 made its impact on the South Tower of the World Trade Center. While no one above the impact zone of the North Tower could escape, since the South Tower was struck at a different angle, one stairway had been left intact and no doubt saved some lives. The building burned for nearly an hour before the plane exploded at 9:59, collapsing the structure. The sheer amount of debris was unlike that ever seen before. It was an expansive cloud of pure concrete that chased citizens like death encroaching, symbolizing something of the Reaper coming to take them to hell. Those who were unlucky enough to be stuck in the debris found that inside the hellish cloud was pure darkness. No light, no end in sight, as it covers its victims in a thick suit. At 7:15, Khalid Al-Mihar and Maher Moped checked into the American Airlines counter for Flight 77 at Dulles, Virginia. The flight was scheduled to depart for LA at 8:10. At 8:54, the plane began to deviate from its path. Though unlike the previous two flights, no one was actually harmed during the hijacking. The pilots were simply shoved into the back. Generally, it's not known what happened on that flight aside from flight attendant Renee May calling her mother in Las Vegas to inform her that the plane had been hijacked. At 9:37, Flight 77 struck the western side of the Pentagon in Arlington County, Virginia, killing 189 people.